Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Faiz Alwafi. Today, I would like to continue my reading report about translation and interpretation. So let's go on for the first point. The first point is what is translation? So far, I can conclude that the main idea of translation that most of us have most likely involves the reproduction of the source text or ST in the target text or TT, which faithfully represents the original content, meaning, spirit, and style in practice. This ideal is seldom, if ever, attainable, and moreover, the term translation itself encompasses a wide variety of forms and practices. The next point is the real objective of translation. In this point, I can conclude that the translation, however, doesn't only discuss matters or even things that have to do with words level, correspondence, or grammar, but the language used in the context. To translate the sentence, we need to know who to address because many languages distinguish between familiar and polite pronoun forms, especially in Indonesia. Beyond the structural features, we have to judge the desired function of sentence in its context. Next is literal or free. In this point, the central debate regarding translation has revolved around whether translation should be literal or free. And the literal or free dichotomy continues to be a feature of translation discussion today. The debate is basically about how the translation should be done and not how it should be done. Strict literalism in translation, where there is a strict adherence to ST structure and vocabulary, often results in incomprehensible. As in the quote from this travel brochure, this translation contains some literalism, but the message in question is clear. The problem here is that the message form is not suitable for the main target audience, who speak English and are mostly non-Muslim. A free translation can also produce inappropriate or unfavorable effects. There are a number of problems with the literal or free dichotomy. One problem is that the terms literal and free do not have a precise or agreed upon definition. The problem can be restated in different forms of equality, which is called formal and dynamic. So, formal equivalence aims to reflect the form and context of ST, while dynamic acquisition aim to produce equation give the reader an effect to experience by the original text reader. And the next point is what is interpreting. So far, I can conclude that interpreting covers various forms of oral translation, usually of spoken discourse, but something extending to oral translation of written text. Interpreting as profession and as an activity is distinct from translation. Mm, Interpreters must highly develop listening skills and be fluent, especially in speaking. They must also be able to work very fast. The next point is how can it be different from translation? Unlikely translators who can usually do research while working on translation. Interpreters must be equipped with prior knowledge of the field or the topic they are translating into. And while translator can consider the translation decision, interpreters must make decision immediately. Yeah, the status and role of interpreter are severely restricted. In courtroom work, impartiality determines that the interpreter keeps his distance from witness and cause them to be excluded from pre-trial discussion and documents. I'm sorry, I mean document relevance to the case. In this case, interpretation requires skills and higher concentration than the translation activities. The next point is what happened in subtitling. Subtitling is an activity of translating dialogue in visual media such as a film into written text on the screen. Subtitling is a form of limited translation which places a sizable demand on translator. I mean, the transition from speech for to writing means that important features of spoken language, such as intonation, tones, volume or are missing. Likewise, dialectical, varietal, and ideo, idioletal, idioletal features, such as non-standard pronunciation or vocabulary and the use character-specific verbal behavior, pose problems for subtitles. Maybe that's all from me. I'm so sorry for my mistakes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.